Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're new. My name is Alpa in case you guys are new here. I feel like I should have done this type of video in January of 2026, but it is February and I'm filming it right now, so it is what it is. But I've been wanting to do this video for a very long time and finally it's time to just do it. So in this video I am going to talk more about some life updates, my goals, moving forward with Bath and Body Works, also, makeup, everything, really everything that I like to collect. I also want to talk about those goals and why, what I'm doing, because there's a reason for everything. So if you are not familiar with my life, I am a nurse practitioner. I moved to New York for a nurse practitioner job, and I am originally from India. I went to school in the Midwest is very familiar to me. My only reason for moving to New York was for professional growth, because at that time when I had graduated nurse practitioner school, I was not getting jobs there. So hence why I decided to move to, first I was in like really North New York, which is very isolating. And now I live more in Central New York. I live in Syracuse, Rochester area, in case you are familiar with this area. So I moved here for professional growth, and I definitely have been in this industry, not super long. I've been in it for about 3 years now, and I've learned a lot about myself and my interests and where I see myself, working long term, and just learning a lot about, the differences between practicing outpatient medicine versus inpatient medicine. And I am starting to realize that I am more of an inpatient provider. This may mean that I may go back to school. I don't know if I am gonna do that like right away. It's going to involve me getting a certificate, not necessarily another degree. So that is kind of where I'm at. Mainly I would be going back to school to make myself more marketable in the when I'm applying for jobs and stuff like that, to show that I have this specific certificate which qualifies me to be able to deal with the inpatient population. Do I have to go for the certificate? Not necessarily, but if I want to make myself more marketable, I would likely need to go back to school. I don't know if I'm gonna do this or not, but it's definitely in the back of my mind. I definitely have experience working in the hospital, so I'm not like totally unaware of how hospitals are. I am well aware of how to deal with a hospitalized patient. I dealt with that when I was doing nursing, and now as an NP as well. I was managing patients at night shift, so I know how to deal with it. It just is I'm gonna have to refresh some of my skills, if you want to call it, if I want to go back to that setting. So with that being said, moving is maybe a possibility. I am not just gonna move for just another job. I likely would want to ideally move for a job and a potential partner. At this time I'm single, so I don't know if I'm going to meet anybody here in New York. I haven't really yet. The people that I've met, although it didn't work out, like they don't live where I live. So I'm not sure what God is telling me to do in terms of actually living in New York, or if he wants me out of New York. I don't know, and I am praying to God to give me more clarity on where the next steps are. whether it means moving back to Ohio, or moving to Indiana, moving to the South. I don't know at this point. So moving is a really high possibility for me, and I've kind of like come to that conclusion within the last 10 months. So because of moving, guys, I can't be buying all this beautiful, wonderful body care product that we all love. Now, this doesn't mean that I am going to go on a complete no buy. Like, I don't think I'm gonna do that. I think, you know, maybe a low buy. But I am gonna start focusing on project panning and project use it up, whether it's with like makeup products. I don't even buy that much makeup anymore, but certainly, you know, Bath and Body Works is my weakness. So I'm likely going to try to do that, is to, you know, minimize my collection and my perfumes. I don't have a lot. I'm looking at it over here, and I really don't have as much as I have owned in the past. And I think, you know, I've moved a lot, and you guys, you know, some of you have been on my channel for a very long time. You guys know that I have moved a lot. Like, I moved maybe 4 times by now, and I apologize, my fingers look so nasty. I just took out the nail polish. So I've moved 4 times. Once within, you know, Cleveland, I moved once. Then I moved to Indiana. Then I moved to like that small town in in northern New York. And then I moved again to Syracuse. And now I'm like, I don't know what God wants me to do. I think he may want me to move again, whether it's any other state, whether it's again within the state of New York. I don't know. So moving has definitely been part of my life, as you can tell, as a young single person, young professional trying to grow in this industry. And you know, that's just how it's been. So that is a high possibility, because I'm not my own boss, and I end up working, you know, for hospitals and stuff. So with that being said, definitely I'm going to do some project use it up stuff with makeup, possibly with body care. I do plan on doing these types of videos. I also decided that I want to make like a hobby planner to be very mindful of being more consistent on YouTube with video ideas, not just YouTube. I'll talk about my other hobbies in this video as well, and I will put, you know, timestamps. But having a planner just dedicated to hobbies, I think, is very, very crucial at this point. And I did buy some hobby stuff for Temu, or hobby planner stuff from Temu, so that should be coming in the mail hopefully soon. And yeah, that is something I'm hoping to do, is, you know, do more project pan videos. I'm not traditionally starting it in the beginning of the year like most people do, but I am planning on doing some project panning videos. Okay, moving on to talking about coloring, my art stuff, all of that. So I really got into art as a medium because of the really rough winters that we get here in New York, in upstate New York, I should say, because I think the weather in New York City is a lot different than the weather here. And I was going through really bad seasonal depression, and that's another reason as to why I'm really considering possibly moving out of here, is that depression. I feel like when you have somebody with you, when you live with somebody, I think these winters are easy to get by. But I feel like as me by myself, I get very depressed with the winter. I don't know if it's just in my head, I don't know. But I am trying to, you know, actively be involved more in church, you know, to kind of just be involved and get out of my house and just not think about the fact that it's snowing and freezing weather all the time. So I am trying to do that. So anyways, back to my point about coloring and, you know, art stuff. So I really got into all of this art, whether it's embroidery, you know, paint by number, color by number, coloring books, you know, with alcohol markers, pencils, you name it. I really got into this stuff because of, you know, the seasonal depression that I was having. And I want to continue doing this hobby. I want to continue doing coloring, embroidery, and all that. But again, I'm also struggling in this area because I want to buy every single color by number book that's out there. I want to buy every single art supply, budget art supply. And I'm really trying to control myself because of the fact that, you know, I have this nomadic lifestyle. I keep moving and all that. So another thing that I have been, you know, considering over the last couple of months is maybe possibly starting a separate channel for all of the hobby stuff, primarily dedicated more towards adult coloring, and, you know, painting and all that. I don't know yet, but I am thinking that maybe I should, you know, move all that content to like a different space. So I may do that. And I'm kind of taking the same mindset that I'm taking from like body care and stuff like that towards my adult coloring stuff, to just focus on the books that I currently have rather than buying more books. Of course I want to buy more books. Of course I want to get all my George Tufex's Creative Haven books. Same with Teresa Goodrich. I have been obsessing over these artists and I really want to collect their books, but I know that where I am right now is temporary. Like, there's something in my spirit which is telling me that me living in this apartment is definitely temporary, and I don't know where I'm gonna move, but at some point I will move. So moving is a big hassle, guys, especially trying to do it alone. It's not easy at all, and I've done it way too many times. And if I do it again, and if it happens again, I want to do it with minimal things. So that is why I'm kind of on a low buy year in terms of everything: nail polish, body care, makeup, clothes, you know, coloring supplies and everything. So that is kind of where I'm at. Of course I get greedy. Of course I put it on, you know, my Amazon wish list. I have a whole wish list of all the coloring supplies I want, all the coloring books I want, and I even separated them by, this is the Teresa Goodrich books I want, this is the George Tufex books I want, this is the Jessica Mazurkiewicz books I want. I mean, I'm definitely like obsessing over it, and I need to get back to junk journaling. I feel like I totally forgot about junk journaling as well. So, you know, I keep these hobbies to really just keep my mood in check with what's going on with the weather, because I have to literally, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. If you live in this area, you know you have to use a shovel to get all the snow out of your car. And living in New York is not cheap, all right? $1,700 for a one-bedroom apartment. That's how it is. So I could not, with my current income, you know, afford to live in a townhouse and get a garage. So I'm trying my best to juggle every single thing at this point with the current income I have. So, you know, a lot of things are happening clearly, but I just wanted to update you guys on what was kind of on my mind and why I wanted to do, you know, like a low buy year. And yeah, it's gonna be a low buy, and it's okay, you know, at least you get to enjoy what you have. I don't think I can do a complete no buy. I think I would be punishing myself. So, you know, trying to do a low buy is a better option for me. Hopefully you guys understand. Thank you so much for this non-traditional video. The next one is probably going to be an introduction of my Project Use It Up stuff. Thank you so much and take care. Bye-bye.